Hey everyone, it's Tyler Fire Sabers. I want to show you guys something cool I've been working on. This is going to be both the demo and the installation video here. So as many of you have noticed, LGT has started switching over to the USB Type-C ports, which is really cool. However, if you want to use the USB Type-C port on one of the older round style switches, you get all this dead space in there, and that's just no good. So what I've come up with is this tiny little plug that you basically just slide over the USB Type-C charging port and it'll fill up that dead space. Just like so. Now we've got a couple of different scenarios here. We've got the one with the front screws, which is going to require additional standoffs. And then we've got the newer style that has the back screw that pushes it up. And for that one, all you need is the plug. So let me go ahead and show you real quick how to install these. Okay, so the first scenario is going to be the easiest. That's going to be the one where you don't have the two front screw holes. This one actually pushes up from the back. That one doesn't need anything special, just the plug. So we're going to go ahead and take this apart. I always recommend taking the battery out before you start messing around with the chassis, just for safety, you know. So we're going to go ahead and back this screw out just a little bit. You don't have to take it all the way out if you don't want to, just make sure you back it off enough. And then we got this bottom one right here to do. Okay, so now lid will set off to the side, and you're going to take this little plug and just slide it over. And there's a little lip on the bottom of the plug to prevent this from slipping out of the chassis. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put the lid back on, but first I want to show you guys just a couple of things here. You want to make sure that your wires aren't on this surface or here. Sometimes they can move around and get bound up, and then when you screw down your lid, if you have wires there, it'll pinch your wires, and potentially you could screw into them and short everything out. So you just want to be really careful about your wire management when you do all this. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just real carefully replace the lid. Sometimes you need to use your Allen wrench just to wiggle this into place. And I'm just making sure that there's no wires being pinched anywhere on either edge. Okay, so now I'm just going to hold on to it. And you don't have to crank this down. Just going to snug it up. So I'm pushing down on the lid to bring the two pieces together while I tighten that up. I'm going to flip it around, and now I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. And again, just snug. Okay, so now you can go ahead and slip it in here, get it lined up. I like to use my Allen wrench to kind of push it up from the back side so I can see exactly where it's going to go. And then I can come in with my back screw, just like so. There we go. And I'm just going to finger tighten this one. You don't need to snug it up too much. And then we can put in this one as well. Okay, so there you have it. Now all that dead space is filled, and it looks pretty good. So now I'll show you guys how to do the other scenario where you actually had to add the brass standoffs to these. Okay, so if you have a hilt or a switch segment that has the 4 holes, you're going to want to buy the version of this kit that comes with the standoffs. So let's go ahead and start by make sure your battery's out. We'll take this lid off. Okay, set that aside. And you're probably going to have a little chassis in here. You can get rid of this if you want to, since we're going to have the standoffs, but I mean, you might lose it, and you might need it later if you ever try to put it back into what you're doing. So it's probably not a bad idea to just put it back together, but I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so in your kit, you're going to get 2 sets of screws. You're going to have one that's slightly longer than the others. So we got 2 long, 2 shorter. And those are going to be subject to change depending on if I can find something better. But for right now, this is what we got, and these work fine. So we're going to take the 2 shorter ones And those are going to be what attach the standoffs to the PCB itself. Okay, so you've got 2 holes on your PCB. You're going to put one of the shorter screws through here, and you're going to take one of the standoffs, and you're just going to screw it on from the bottom, just like this. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, making sure I'm using the shorter of the 2 sets of screws. And we'll just feed that in there just like that. Okay, now we can snug this up. And if you'll notice, it turns the whole thing when I do this. So what I like to do is come in here with a pair of pliers and hold on to it. It is extremely important that you get these tight, because if these break loose inside the saber, you are going to have a bad time. It is not fun trying to get a core out of a hilt once these standoffs have broken loose. So we're just going to make sure we get that as tight as we can. Okay, so now the standoffs are installed. We can put our little cap over that, press it down into place. Looking good. And we'll replace this. You're going to have 2 slots on this. Those are going to face towards the right side of the chassis because there's 2 little plugs in there. And we're just going to have to be careful of our wire management down here. Make sure that these don't get in the way of our wires. Cool. Alright, so now we can tuck this carefully back into here like so, and then we're going to replace our lid like so. And again, just be very careful of your wire management. Screw this back together like so. Make sure no wires are pinched. And then we can screw the top part on, just like so. Cool, so there we go. Now we're going to take what we're putting it into, just get it all lined up like so. Now there's a hole in the back that you can use to kind of help you push these up, but you kind of got to go at an angle. So you're going to take your 2 shorter screws. And the reason we're using these shorter screws is because if you try to use these long ones, they will actually bottom out and meet that other short screw before they have enough room to pull the whole thing up. So we're using these shorter screws to make sure that we can reach. Okay, so we'll screw that in like that. And we should be able to get the other one in there like that. And just snug these up like so. And boom, there you have it.
Power on.
Cool. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up. Put a lot of research and development into these, so I think they should be pretty good to go for most scenarios. But if you think you have a specific scenario that you want me to take a look at, feel free to PM us on the page, or if you just need any help in general, and I'll be happy to help you out. So thanks for watching, guys.